August 6, 1945. At 8:15 in the morning, Tsutomu Yamaguchi is walking through the streets of Hiroshima. He is 29 years old. He works as an engineer for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries. And today is supposed to be the last day of his business trip. He is heading to the train station, going home to his wife, his 5-month-old son, his normal life. He never makes it to the station. He forgot his ID stamp at the office. Just an ID stamp. A small stupid mistake that makes him turn around and walk back. That one small decision is the reason you are hearing his name right now. At 8:15 a.m., he looks up at the clear summer sky. He sees an American B-29 bomber high above the city. He watches it drop something attached to 2 small parachutes. He has no idea what it is. Nobody does. He just stands there, looking up, and then the sky turns white. Not bright, not a flash. White. Everything. All at once. The world's first atomic bomb detonates 600 meters above the city of Hiroshima. The temperature on the ground reaches 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds. The blast travels at nearly 1,000 miles per hour. Tens of thousands of people die instantly. Buildings disappear. Bridges melt. And Tsutomu Yamaguchi, standing less than 2 miles from ground zero, gets blown off his feet by a shockwave moving faster than sound. He lands in an irrigation ditch. Both of his eardrums are ruptured. His arms are covered in severe burns. His face is burned. His hair is gone. And for several seconds, he cannot see anything. Just white, then black, then nothing. When he regains consciousness, the city of Hiroshima no longer exists. What was a living city of 350,000 people is now fire, rubble, and silence. He later describes what he sees as he walks through what remains. Rivers filled with floating bodies. Buildings reduced to twisted metal skeletons. People walking with their skin hanging off their arms. Like paper, like they were already ghosts. He finds 2 of his colleagues alive. They spend the night in an air raid shelter, barely sleeping, surrounded by the sounds of a dying city. The next morning he makes a decision that sounds absolutely insane. He is going home, to Nagasaki. The train journey is something most humans cannot imagine. Every station along the way is packed with burned and bewildered survivors. At one river crossing, all the bridges are destroyed. Yamaguchi is forced to swim through a layer of floating bodies. He reaches the other side, gets back on the train, and keeps going. He arrives in Nagasaki on August 7th. His wife Hisako sees him at the door. She barely recognizes him. His arms wrapped in makeshift bandages. His face burned. His body broken. But he is alive. He holds his infant son for the first time in months. And he sleeps. On August 8th, he stays home, recovering. His wife changes his bandages. His son does not understand what has happened to his father. The world outside is trying to understand what happened to Hiroshima. President Truman gives a speech that day, revealing to the world for the first time that America has created an atomic bomb. He calls it a harnessing of the basic power of the universe. In Nagasaki, people hear this on the radio, and they feel afraid. But they also feel something else. They feel relieved, because surely nobody would drop a second one. August 9th, Tsutomu Yamaguchi does something that still makes historians shake their heads. He goes to work. He is still bandaged, still burned, still half deaf. But he goes to work, because that is who he is. At 11 a.m., he is sitting across from his supervisor in the Mitsubishi office building. His supervisor has heard rumors about Hiroshima, but he does not believe them. He looks at Yamaguchi, at his burned face, his bandaged arms, and he says, "You are an engineer. Calculate it. How could one bomb destroy an entire city?" Yamaguchi takes a breath and begins to explain. He describes the white light, the heat, the shockwave, the silence after, the rivers. He is in the middle of his sentence when the room outside the window turns white. Yamaguchi later says 3 words about that moment. "I thought the mushroom cloud had followed me from Hiroshima." The Fat Man atomic bomb, a plutonium bomb 40% more powerful than the one dropped on Hiroshima, detonates 3 kilometers from where Yamaguchi is sitting. The office windows shatter inward. The shockwave tears through the building. Yamaguchi hits the deck. His supervisor hits the deck. Everyone in that room hits the deck. The city of Nagasaki begins to burn. Tsutomu Yamaguchi has now survived 2 atomic bombs. In 3 days, in two different cities. The only person in history to officially receive that title. He does not celebrate. He does not feel lucky. He runs through smoke and fire and collapsed buildings to find his family. He finds his wife and son in the ruins of their neighborhood. Hisako has been soaked in black rain, the radioactive fallout that falls like black oily drops after a nuclear explosion. His infant son is covered in it. Over the next weeks, the radiation sickness comes. Fever, vomiting, hair loss. His body is fighting on two fronts now. The burns from Hiroshima and the radiation from Nagasaki. He goes in and out of consciousness for days. His daughter later recalls that until she was 12 years old, her father was constantly wrapped in bandages. She thought that was just what fathers looked like. On August 15, 1945, Japan surrenders. World War II is over. In Nagasaki, the survivors begin the process of rebuilding. Tsutomu Yamaguchi slowly recovers, and then does something remarkable. He gets on with his life. He becomes a translator for the American occupation forces. He goes back to Mitsubishi, back to designing oil tankers. He and Hisako have two daughters in the 1950s. He writes poetry about what he saw, but he does not talk about it publicly. For decades, he puts it away, deep inside, and he lives. But the story does not end there, because his family pays a price that never makes the history books. His son Katsutoshi, who was just 5 months old during both bombings, develops serious health problems throughout his life, linked to radiation exposure. He dies in 2005, before his father. His wife Hisako, who survived the Nagasaki bombing, develops liver and kidney cancer, almost certainly caused by radiation. She dies in 2008. At 88 years old, Yamaguchi outlives both of them. In his 80s, something changes in him. He starts speaking. He gives interviews. He writes a memoir. He appears in documentaries. In 2006, at age 90, he travels to New York City and stands before the United Nations. And he pleads for the abolition of nuclear weapons. He says, having experienced atomic bombings twice and survived, it is my destiny to talk about it. In January 2009, at age 92, Yamaguchi applies to the Japanese government for official recognition as a double survivor. The government of Japan reviews his case, and in March 2009, they confirm it. Tsutomu Yamaguchi is officially recognized as the only person in history to have survived both atomic bombings. He is the only one out of 160 known double survivors who received official recognition. James Cameron, the director of Titanic and Avatar, visits him in hospital in December 2009. They discuss making a film about nuclear weapons. Yamaguchi tells Cameron, "I think it is your destiny to make this film." 2 weeks later, Tsutomu Yamaguchi dies. January 4, 2010, age 93, of stomach cancer, almost certainly caused by radiation. 65 years after the bombs, he survived 2 nuclear explosions. He swam through a river of corpses. He watched 2 cities disappear. He lost his son. He lost his wife. He outlived them all. And he spent the last years of his life standing in front of the world, saying, "Never again." The odds of surviving one atomic bomb blast from less than 2 miles away are almost impossible to calculate. The odds of surviving 2 in 3 days, in 2 different cities, are beyond any number, beyond any equation, beyond any logic. And yet, he did. If history has taught us one thing, it is that one person, in the right place, at the right time, can change how the world remembers what happened. Tsutomu Yamaguchi was not a soldier. He was not a politician. He was not a hero in any traditional sense. He was an engineer who forgot his ID stamp and survived twice, so that one day he could tell you what it looked like when the sky turned white. Subscribe to the Obsidian Vault, because the most important stories are always the ones they forgot to teach you.